So, let's talk about something that affects pretty much all of us. Why are our cities built around cars? The answer, it turns out, is hiding in our city planning rules. We're going to dive into a powerful idea called inclusive zoning, and you'll see how one simple change could create neighborhoods that are more vibrant, more walkable, and just better. Let's get into it.
You know that feeling, right? You need just one thing from the store, but you have to get in the car, deal with traffic, find parking, all for a carton of milk. It's a frustration we all share. But here's the thing. What if I told you this wasn't an accident? What if our cities were actually designed this way on purpose?
For a long time, the way we've built our cities has been, well, a bit of a mess. Just look at this map. It shows over 1,000 different local zones, all with their own complicated rules. It's basically a postcode lottery that creates this rigid, inefficient system. The source material calls this gray inertia, this kind of stubborn, outdated system that keeps us stuck in the past, totally dependent on our cars.
And this all comes down to a really fundamental choice in how we think about cities. On one hand, you've got exclusive zoning. This is the old way of doing things, where everything gets its own separate box. Houses over here, shops way over there, and offices somewhere else entirely. But on the other hand, there's inclusive zoning, which flips the script and asks a way smarter question. Not what is this building for, but what kind of impact will it have on its neighbors?
And wow, this image really says it all, doesn't it? On the left, that's the world of exclusive zoning, that gray inertia we just talked about. A sea of concrete, huge roads, everything disconnected. But on the right, that's the promise of inclusive zoning. Green, walkable, dense neighborhoods that are actually built for people, not just for cars. It's a pretty stark difference.
So what exactly is inclusive zoning? Well, it's a really simple but powerful shift in thinking. Instead of just banning things outright, it focuses on managing their negative impacts, what planners call nuisances. Think things like excessive noise or heavy traffic. It's a move away from a rulebook that says, no, you can't, to one that says, yes, you can, as long as you don't bother your neighbors.
And here's what that actually looks like in practice. Notice how this residential area isn't just houses. Tucked right in there are small shops and offices. The whole system is based on common sense. It trusts that, a quiet little bookstore or a small design office isn't going to ruin the neighborhood. If it's not a nuisance, it's allowed to be there.
Now, to help us get our heads around this, the source material uses this absolutely brilliant metaphor, the Russian doll. It's a super simple way to visualize how all these different uses can fit together neatly without creating a mess. Let me show you how it works.
Okay, so imagine this. You start with the biggest doll, which is our residential zone. Now, inside that, a smaller doll, let's say a low-impact office, can fit right in. And then another small doll, like a little corner shop, can also fit inside that same residential zone. They can all coexist peacefully because their nuisance level is really low.
And here's the best part. This isn't just a cool theory. It's actually written into the proposed new rules. Check this out. The table shows that a low-rise residential zone explicitly allows for small shops and offices. It says it right there. This is the Russian doll principle in action, literally written into policy.
Okay, so allowing a small shop on a quiet street, it might not sound like a revolution. But stick with me, because this seemingly small change is actually the key that unlocks a much bigger and more exciting idea in city planning.
And that idea is the 15-minute city. You've probably heard of it. It's the concept that everything you need for your daily life, your groceries, a doctor's office, a park, maybe even your job, is just a short 15-minute walk or bike ride from your front door. This is the end goal.
And this is what that vision looks like. This isn't some far-off fantasy. It's a future built on common sense. We're talking about thriving city blocks with green spaces, great transit, and local businesses all woven together. This leads to healthier people, stronger local economies, and a real sense of community. This is the kind of world that Russian doll logic can help us build, one neighborhood at a time.
But you have to understand, this is about more than just a new set of planning rules. It's a really deep philosophical shift. It's about putting the public's well-being right at the center of how we make decisions, making sure our cities are designed to serve the collective good, not just outdated ideas about separating everything.
If you take away just one thing from all of this, let it be this simple principle. It completely flips the old way of thinking on its head. It creates a system based on permission and possibility, not one based on restriction and saying no. It's a simple idea, but it has some pretty profound consequences. And that really leaves us with one last question to think about. Let's bring this all back home. Think about your own street, your own neighborhood. What would change if a little cafe or a small grocery store or even a local co-working space could open up just around the corner? What could our communities really become if we started designing them to connect us instead of keeping us apart?